Honestly, with this latest episode of the new Digimon Adventure anime, I'd say it's either one of the best, if not the best episode we've seen out of the past 5. Episode 3 is still a staple of what you want to see from this anime, but episode 5 did a lot for just lore and world building, a lot of great information about the Holy Digimon, just the chosen ones, the big baddie that we're going to meet, a little bit of a teaser with Mimi towards the end. Obviously we knew she was going to pop in at some point in time, all the main cast will, with their selected Digimon partners that have become fan favorites across the years. But honestly, it had a good balance of comedy, good balance of action, but really put an emphasis on the world and lore building, which I think was really important to establish because yes, a lot of people are going to have seen the original 2 adventure series. Many people are going to have seen all of the Digimon anime, but there's also going to be a lot of newcomers, so it's nice to give you an established plotline that's both feels new and old all wrapped up into one, and based on what I've seen a lot of people say online, is that it almost feels like they're taking the best elements of all the Digimon anime, not just the ones from the Adventure series, but rather the best elements from all the Digimon anime so it can build the ultimate Digimon series, which I can't 100% say for myself because I've only seen the first 2 series, and even then it's been such a long time I vaguely remember anything about them, just the main essentials like certain moves, the Digimon, and things like that. So this pretty much feels brand new to me, so it's very hard for me to say what is exactly, oh, this is how they changed it, or this is how they took an element from this or that, but based on what I keep seeing week after week, that sounds like a really good sign to me. A lot of people will try to hold on to that nostalgia and say, oh, this is how it was in Digimon Adventure, this is how the attack should look, this is how the Digimon should look, this is how the characters should be introduced, this is how the plot elements should be introduced, etc, and the list goes on. But if you're watching a new anime, we should treat it as a new anime, even if it looks and feels like, oh, we have Tai, we have, Izzy, things like that. It still is a brand new series, and it clearly is being treated as such, and there is a lot of passion being put into this product. This honestly feels like something that feels like they want to make it pure quality, not a mindless cash grab. A lot of series with a very big and established name such as Digimon, they do run into that cash grab little gimmick where they just rehash and recycle the same thing over and over again. But I honestly don't feel like Digimon has gotten into that habit, at least with the original Digimon Adventure cast and characters. It honestly feels to me like they're trying to establish something that removed Digimon ever being a household name, and this just popped up into the anime season. It feels like it's trying to impress you, and honestly it would, and I'm sure there's a lot of people who've never seen Digimon. I doubt there's very few people who've never heard of Digimon. There might be a couple of you out there, but most people have always heard of Digimon. It's kind of hard not to know about Digimon in some way, shape, and form, especially if you like video games or anime in any way, shape, and form. So it's really nice that they're treating it as if we need to blow you away not because we're an established name, but because we have really good stories and characters to explore. And they're clearly doing that. That whole intro and just the Holy Digimon and just it felt so, it almost was directed like a religious scene in terms of just the ambience and just it really felt majestic, as if you were seeing something that no mortal should ever see. And in doing so, it created an atmosphere that made you feel like these kids, seeing something that you knew was spectacular and fantastic, and that clearly they were the chosen ones. That was the message. They are the chosen ones, as we get a history of the Great War, and we're seeing characters like, oh, we got our Greymons in their final evolutions and things like that. And it was great to see how the Digimon actually started crying, not knowing why they were crying, but they started crying because clearly they had a connection to what they were seeing. To me, that's how you really get a hook on the viewers right away. Even if you know of the original series and just where some of these plot beats are going to go, to me it really feels like they're trying to slap you across the face saying, you thought you already liked us? We're gonna slap you again. No, you really want to see more. You're like, okay, I got it. And they slap you again. You're like, stop slapping me. I already want to see this. And they keep doing it, but you're not really bothered by the abuse because it feels like it's just trying to keep your focus there. Even though you think you have 100% focus and clarity, it wants to make sure you don't fall asleep. It's saying, hey, we are exciting. We have action. We have comedy. We have drama. And we actually have a pretty deep world lore, and you're going to want to see more of this, which is why I think it's going, or at least the rumor has it, it's supposed to run for 4 cours, so 4 anime seasons. So this should finish up by summer-ish next year, as long as it doesn't have any breaks, which it'll be interesting if it does or doesn't. I mean, I'd be perfectly fine if they only give us 2 cours, take a little bit of a break, come back for another 2, because Digimon kind of does run for 50-ish episodes, give or take. And based on how they're progressing the story, it doesn't feel like they're trying to rush into anything extreme, but rather say, hey, you know, we're going to give you a lot of information, but also we're going to give you those times so these kids can grow and develop and also feel like they actually have companionship. There's a reason why that scene with Izzy and his Digimon felt so impactful, because it honestly felt like there was friendship blossoming. It felt like something that they've just met each other, but it felt like they've been together forever, as if they've been inseparable. So when Kabuterimon pops up, that's why you feel so energized, as if we've never seen a transformation sequence, and it's like it's our first time. Yet we've seen how many transformation sequences over these 5 episodes, yet it still feels just as fresh. And something I have to give a lot of props to with the transformation scenes is they don't abuse the same ones. We've seen Greymons a couple of times now, and really it hasn't changed all that much, just slight alterations in how they direct it. They don't always show the entire thing, so they cut around to make it feel a little fresh each time. But it's not like we only have Greymon to watch. We also have every single character, and the larger the cast grows, the more options you have on what to focus in on. And what they introduce in this anime is that they actually have the transformation scenes mid-battle, as we see with Kabuterimon, or you have the actual standard Digimon transformation scenes. So they actually have a lot of room to play around with, so it never feels like we're just like, oh my god, we know what the transformation scene looks like, get to the battle. Rather, we're like, oh, we haven't seen that one in a while, or we haven't seen this one at all. That's really cool, I'm really glad I got to see it, and they don't drag them on. They don't show us 5-minute Sailor Moon transformation scenes every single time. Then on top of the actual really well done and thought out transformation scenes, you have pretty solid battles overall. Obviously, episode 3 sticks out the most in terms of its complexity, but you can't shrug off how good this episode was for its combat. Sure, it was mostly explosions and running away for the most part, but it doesn't change the fact that it really does feel like it's trying to be different than what came before, at least from what I remember of Digimon. Maybe it's completely the same in a lot of ways and I'm just forgetting because it's been so long, but I'm really enjoying the action. One thing that I've been praising since the beginning is that it actually feels like the kids are a part of the battle. Sure, they're mostly riding on their Digimon, but it makes it feel like a lot more organic, as if there's this unity and teamwork to it, that it's not just like they say, hey, transform and go do my battles. No, it feels like there's this connection, so they're always with them. If Greymon falls, so does Tai, something to that nature, and it really does feel like it's a lot more teamwork oriented than what I remember, and it adds to a lot of just emotional depth is how I'd put it. And just the fact that you have a lot of these like smaller moments, like you have this one Digimon that basically was releasing this sound wave which pretty much messed with the minds of all the actual strong Digimon surrounding it, so it caused a lot of heartache. So it was nice to see just like characters being flung around and just like, you're like, I don't know what the hell's going to happen. Then you get this amazing transformation scene with Kabuterimon and it's like, oh my god, I wasn't expecting that, but that seems really cool. He's smacking fools left and right. Holy shit, Bergamon, look at this. You're just bursting through this cobweb demise. And then you got Greymon smacking fools around. Like, even though it feels like these giant kaiju-like monsters kind of just smacking other giant kaiju-like monsters around, there actually is like this build-up. So it's not just like, oh, big monster, I'll summon my big monster, do battle. No, it's like, you don't know, is there time for them to evolve? Can they evolve? Do they have the energy to? What's the limitation at this point in time for them? There's a lot of uncertainty, so when things start moving and the momentum really starts rolling, you're like, yes, this is what I'm talking about. And you never know, there could be moments where it doesn't look like our kids are going to get out of this situation unscathed, and then they're going to throw a curveball. Not even just like with a new character being introduced, it could be something completely new and original, or something you weren't expecting to be introduced until much later on. That's the sweet spot for me. It's got its action, it's got its funny moments. I really do like the general dynamic and banter between the Digimon and their partners, but honestly, it just feels like with the amount of lore they're throwing in our face from such an early stage, it actually says to me that the story is really going to be relevant from basically day one, which it has been. And the just difference between the internet side where Izzy's pretty much being trapped and how you have to make sure the corruption doesn't spread there because you're not going to be able to do much at that point in time. And then you have, of course, Tai and his side. There's just a lot I don't know what they're trying to do with, and that's what makes it so damn fun to me, and why Digimon has made me feel like a kid again, and I'm sure for many others who either grew up with Digimon, or maybe just recently got into it and just saying like, you know what, I feel like a young kid really excited, but also seeing just a lot of things maybe we ignored when growing up with Digimon that we're now seeing because we're a bit older, and we can soak in a lot of those smaller details that maybe we kind of just went over our head or something to that nature, and now we're like, oh my god, this really is a pretty deep story at the end of the day. But as always, those are just my thoughts and opinions on the latest episode of Digimon Adventure. If you have your own, feel free to leave yours down below. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like to show your support. Remember to hit that subscribe button if you have been new around here. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.